Hi, everybody. It's Jen Cooper with JKC Mobile Notary, and welcome back to my channel. We have another great interview for you today. Really, a great interview with Janae Blatch. She is the founder with her husband of the Florida Academy of Notaries, and I can't wait for you to meet her if you don't already know her. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. Hey there, everyone. We are back with another exciting interview. Today's victim is one of our industry's brightest stars, heart-driven coach, and just an around amazing human being. Janae Blatch is a notary and a public speaker and the director of the Florida Academy of Notaries with her husband, David. Before that, she was an educator and a mental health counselor. Her notary journey is much like a lot of ours, except she took her gift of education and applied it to the new notaries coming up around her. She has so much infectious and positive energy, and I am thrilled to introduce her to you today. So, hey, Janae, I'm so glad that you're here.
Hey, Jen. Thank you for having me. I was so excited to when you asked to interview me. It's just an exciting
It's fun. I
thing
love
to talk to
talking to
notary
notary
colleagues.
colleagues. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. And I
yeah.
love introducing people to an audience that might not know. I know you. I've known of you since I first became a notary, and but not everybody's in the same circle. So I love introducing people out to other notaries in the world and to get them into their circle as well. So I love that.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Awesome. All right. Before we start, and I'm asking everybody this year, can you share with us the journey you took on how you became a notary or joined the notary industry?
Whew, it was not planned. Like, I don't know. I wasn't one of those people. I had heard a few that said, "Oh, I always wanted to be a notary as a kid." That's not my story.
Yeah.
Um, I was actually it was during the pandemic. I used to be an educator, and long story, my when my daughter was born, I had to come off the job on bed rest, and when she was born with a rare genetic disorder.
Mm,
So, at the time of the pandemic, I was a stay-at-home mom at that point for 4 years because I decided to stay home with at that point my three small children.
right.
And my husband, David, who's also a notary now, was in the restaurant industry.
Wow.
So while, we all know what happened in 2020 in the restaurant
Right.
industry. So
Right.
he came home and I was like, tag me in, like, tag me in, let me go. Let me do something. So I started researching and I kept seeing these things on YouTube and on pop up on my phone about loan signing. And previously, a fellow colleague, educator colleague of mine, had been telling me about loan signing and how they did it part time, how they actually paid off their home doing it part time.
Right.
And I was just like, man, like notaries, they don't get paid a lot. So
Right.
like I just kind of brushed it off.
Yeah.
So I started looking into it in the pandemic a little bit further and watched a few, webinars about it. And I went into I ran into the next room with my husband. I was like, I can do this. Let me do this. And I went, purchased my training, and I went ahead and started with my commission. I took the in Florida, it's like a 3-hour online course. The
Mhm.
next day, I took care of that, sent off the application for my notary commission, and there, that's history. And
Yeah.
that's how it all started, just becoming a notary.
Yeah. I think the reason that your story is similar specifically to this generation of notaries is many of us came into the industry during COVID, either
Hmm.
just before or just after, right? Because of changes in income and things like that. So um, I love that. I do love that those of us in that area heard about loan signings way before we heard about any other version of being a notary, right? Loan signings
Exactly,
screaming from the
exactly.
mountaintops. And so, and it attracted a lot of people because of the big numbers people were putting up and because it was real and it was happening. So I love that. Okay, so you got your commission, you became a notary. What then motivated you to establish the Florida Academy of Notaries, your own network and training program?
So there was a journey from there. So I think I dragged my feet a little bit because it was like one of those things that you're like, this is too good to be true. So I kind of dragged my feet with my training until one night I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna knock it out. And I was doing one night, I was taking out my braids, and those of us, if you know what it's like, when you have braids, it was like an all-night thing.
Yeah.
So it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I finally finished the training, and was watching these videos, and I took the test at 3 o'clock in the morning
Wow.
and passed it. And I did, like, I literally binge trained in one day. And once I finally got serious, and once I had my first signing in September, and I went full time October. I was like, you know what? Let's do this. I went full time October.
Wow.
By December of 2020, I had replaced what I was making 4 years earlier, what I would have been making as a guidance
Right.
counselor without a degree. Like,
Right.
with it, it blew my mind. So, and that was in 3 months
Mhm.
within this business. And so fast
That
forward,
was
I
the
had
sweet
established.
spot. That was a sweet spot. That time
Oh yeah.
was the sweet spot for specifically refis and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And so I didn't really know all of, I didn't know anything about seasons. I didn't know about a lot of that stuff at first. But as I got more into the notary community, but I went direct. So that's
Mhm.
what
So did
happened
I.
for me. I went direct very quick. I understood that very quickly, and I took the plunge, went direct. So I had a lot of clients that started having issues with a lot of notaries having the wrong things. And so they were like, can you duplicate yourself? I also had other people. I had other people that were asking me, what are you doing? How, you left, and the people that knew me as a guidance counselor and as a teacher, you mean you left education to do this,
Be a
to be a
notary?
notary?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, what are you doing with your life? You have a master's degree, Um, so all of these things, and people were saying, well, they wanted me to show them and teach them what I was doing. But I was so busy. You remember that
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yes, I
It's like,
do.
when did I have time to do that? And
Really had time
and
to
then
eat. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. And so you're like wondering, also there was a little bit of that. Do I know enough to teach
Right.
someone?
Oh,
Yes, it's
right.
working for me, but do I know enough to teach them? So I kind of like, waited it, dragged it a little bit. But then when I finally made the decision, I talked to a few people. I had a conversation with Janae
Yeah.
and Bill, and I decided to take the plunge. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I had to stop. Here's the thing. So anybody who's interested in trading or anything like that, I had to slow down on my closings in
Mm.
order to really plan to do this.
Right.
And it's something I love. It's
Yeah.
something I love. I love teaching. That's my background. That's my gift. It's my calling.
Mhm.
So that's how I really got into the training part of it,
Right.
and starting helping people. It was just a matter of just people requesting it constantly, my clients and friends and family.
Yeah. When did that expand into what you have at the moment of recording this? We are in the end of January. So how did it expand into the Florida network of, or what? I keep
Florida
missing
Academy of Notaries.
Academy of Notaries. Thank you. Yeah.
Fan.
Yeah.
So
Fan.
listen, so
Yeah.
I'm very like, I like to plan things out. I want to make sure that I have have things in place.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to just go out here willy-nilly just training. I
Right.
wanted to establish the business. I created a separate, business for it,
Yeah.
LLC, so that I can have all that stuff set up. I was coming up with the names, and I always have to give credit to Bill Soroka for this, because I was going up with some names. And I'm like, listen, I want an acronym,
Yeah.
but this acronym is already taken by another university, and this acronym, the acronym didn't work out.
Yeah.
And so at one point, I think I started with NBA.
Oh.
I was like, can't do that, because it was Notary Business Academy is where I started, my
Gotcha.
original thought. And I was like, yeah, I can't use the acronym NBA. I might get in trouble for
You
that.
might get in
So
trouble. Yeah.
maybe. So with doing some brainstorming, with Bill, I was able to come up with FAN, which I love the
Right. I do
acronym
too.
FAN,
I do too.
Florida Academy of Notaries,
Yeah.
because I really wanted to do state specific, because in my own journey, I realized the training that I had received, because I'm a knowledge junkie.
Mhm.
I got all this information. I went to all these conferences, and I'm
Right.
constantly signing up for trainings. But I realized that state specific is where it was, because even on Facebook, you'll have people answering questions, and I'm like, wait a minute,
That's
it
not,
was
oh
completely wrong
God,
information.
all the time in California, all the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
especially you guys in California.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know I wanted to focus on Florida
Mhm.
notaries. And yes, there are so many people have been saying, you could do for everyone. But I think the state specific works for me, because I know that there's so many little intricacies for our state that that's important. But I have had members from other states. Like I had a member from Texas that joined because of some of the information I can still help because a lot of things go across the board.
Right, right.
So yeah, but that's how we came in. It's been, oh my gosh, so 2020, I started planning end of 2021
Mhm.
with Fan, and I think I launched in 2022. Oh my gosh, I can't even, is it, yeah, 2022. I launched in 2022. So I have some members that have been with me since the
The
launch.
beginning. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think it's admirable to recognize that drilling down on your state and staying state specific is where your power is going to be, especially at the beginning. Janae, I think if you wanted to, just in my experience of watching you, where I've watched you, where I've seen you, who you interact with, how you interact with people, if you wanted to expand, you absolutely could. Um, but I fully understand and appreciate the drill down, right? I'm in my state. I'm going to focus on my state. I'm going to focus on the rules of my state. It's easy. I'm going to say it's easy to do that, but I think it creates a solid foundation for what you're creating. And even if you live there for the rest of your life, that state specific training, I think it's a super smart thing to do, especially when you're starting out as a relatively new notary. And
Yeah.
you've grown up with this network, which is
Yeah.
really cool. It's very cool to watch that happen.
And their plans, my business plan has included because again, I want to know more. I want
Mhm.
to know, like I know my state, but there are so many other things that I like to learn about other states because, when you get documents from other states,
They
you
come
want to
from
know what
everywhere. Yeah.
you want to know. So, I am doing some things now that in the future, that will possibly expand outside of Florida.
Mhm.
Um, but it's just a matter of because I want to help more people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's where your heart is.
yeah.
All right. Well, so my next question is, as everything changes so quickly in the time frame between us becoming notaries, 2020 for you, 2021 for me, so much has changed in this short time frame. How do you stay updated on all the industry trends to ensure that your network is equipped with all of the latest knowledge and skills that we're getting constantly updated with?
So, staying in touch within the industry, I think is very, very important. And I'm not necessarily in the clubhouses anymore. I'm not in the, and on,
I went to
getting
my first
information from
clubhouse last night for the first time in over a year.
really.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't been on there in a while. I think the last time was someone asked me to come interview, but I have not, I
Yeah.
haven't been on there in a while. But because I had to separate, it was in 20, around 2022, or that I realized I can't do all the
I can't be
things.
everywhere. Yeah.
There were so many things. Like you said, we just came in this business with loan signing. But
Mhm,
then as we learned more,
mhm.
I learned there's so much you can do as a notary,
Yep.
so many different, branches. And I was getting information on all the things. And I just realized I had to focus. I had to not compare myself with other people's journey. This is
Right.
so important. Like,
Mhm.
I know this is one of those things that says that one tip, this is one of those tips that I would
Yeah,
give to
yeah.
the notaries. Listen, find your lane, explore,
Mhm.
try some things out, but find a lane. Like
Yes.
I believe Bill says this all the time: nail it and scale it.
Yeah,
Nail that first.
yeah.
And even though there's so many other things, I found I love loan signing. Has it changed? Since we
Right.
started in 2020, yeah. But let me tell you this: when you focus on that area and you give excellent service, which is my motto is,
Mhm.
every time, exceptional service every time, you will still be you will still be needed in this industry.
Right.
People are still
Right.
buying homes. People are
Yeah.
still, purchasing transactions. All the title companies haven't gone out of the business.
No, they haven't.
They're still working.
Yeah.
Has it shifted?
Yeah.
Yes. But if you set yourself up as the one that they can go to, the one they can trust,
Mhm.
then you will still have business.
Yep.
So I just stayed with loan signing. And so one of the things that I do, going back to your question, because I go all off,
Okay.
it to stay in the know is I definitely read articles. You know, I'm connected to different organizations. NNA is a big one
Yep.
that I'm connected with. So I read the articles. Sometimes it's the same articles that you might have read before, but I'm
Right.
always looking at it differently. I'm looking at it and reading. I like to read the comments to see where notaries' minds are, what issues other notaries are having, so that I can now sometimes it'll cause me to create a new video training in my platform for my
Right.
notaries when
To
I see
answer that
something is new is
question.
out there,
Yeah.
or somebody's have a lot of notaries are having issues with this. So let me create a video about it so
Mhm.
that, you know, my notaries
Right.
won't have that issue. New changes with the laws.
Mhm.
I stay in, you know, in contact with that, but really just having a community for yourself that you're constantly growing. Just because I teach others doesn't mean that I know it all. Like, I'm
That's true.
always
Yeah.
learning and growing, and I like to learn from everyone. So as I learn, I can then pour into
Right.
my community. Everything I know, I pour it into them.
I think it's such an important thing to confess that I don't know everything. So I'm still learning. I will always be learning. And as I learn, I will share with you. A funny thing about me, because my focus is new notaries, not
Mhm.
new
I
notaries,
love
right?
new notaries. That's a great
Brand
focus.
spanking new baby notaries that are just coming up. And it's been that way since the
Yeah.
beginning for me. Is I still have to call my mentors at the table, having a networking breakfast with somebody who asks me a question. I'm like, let me call Matt Miller. Let me call Laura Buer. Let me call Bill Soroka. Let me call
Yes.
Hope. I do that on a regular basis. And I think people are both amazed that, well, they answer their phones when I call them, but B, I'm willing to tell you that I just don't know. I think it's important as leaders in this industry to say it out loud, because you're
Oh
right.
yeah.
People try to emulate other people's journeys and they think, God, she knows everything. She's got it all together. And
Nope.
I
Mm-mm.
haven't met anybody where that's the truth. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I love
And
that.
social media does that,
Yeah.
Jennifer. Like, you
Oh,
know,
I know.
it creates this image, right? Of the expert.
Mhm.
And yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you may be considered in your own right, you know, you're an expert because you've made it a certain place. So everything
Right.
you've learned up until that part,
Right.
you can teach someone.
Right.
Um, but I think that is the most important thing that you can say to someone. Tell me I don't know, because what I don't like is when people, because of maybe ego
Pride.
or
Yeah.
pride,
Yeah.
whatever, they make up an answer and it's really not what I need, and you give me a bunch of mumbo jumbo
Mhm.
and I just want the meat and potatoes. But
Yeah.
because you really don't know,
Mhm.
you're talking in circles.
Yeah.
Just say I don't know. But here's my thing. One thing about me is I can say I don't know, but I know who does know.
That's right.
So I am very
That's right.
resourceful. And
That's because
that's how
you
you
built
can
your
be key in
connections
your
and your
industry.
network. Yes, Janae.
Yes. Your
Yes.
network is important because I know someone who does know, and I
Yep.
can connect with that person and connect you,
Yep.
and be the answer. So, because in the end, guess what? They're going to say, she is the one, she had my answer.
That's
I
right.
didn't know the answer, but I got the answer through
Right.
someone else. So I
Right.
was able to still do that, you know,
Yeah.
provide that service.
This kind of ties into also how you deal with clients. I just want to put a little side thing here. When we can't provide a service for somebody, the value of the network that you've built plays in there too. I can't help you today, but here's the phone number of somebody who can.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's being honest about your current situation, and it's being able to help people reach what they need to get to. So the answers they need, the services they need, whatever they need. So all of that is combined in the network that you build up and that you connect. And I spent more years than I've been a notary building my network of the smartest people on the planet, right? On purpose. Because I
On
know,
purpose, intentional.
call me in 25 years. Will I be the GOAT to replace Laura Buer? I don't think so. But I have the GOAT as part of my team to help get me where I need to get as I grow. And so you're just hitting some serious
I
points.
love it. And let me tell you something about your network. it's not something when we have our network, you got to be able to, it's mutually beneficial,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And so even though a lot of my members are like, oh, you pour into us, you give me so much of your time, because I get the calls, I got my first signing and
Yes,
I
so
have
do
to, I'm
I.
sitting there with you for 3 hours because you didn't watch the video I told you to watch.
Uh-huh.
And now I got to go through this whole process with you so that you can make it for your first signing. And people appreciate that. But when I can pour into you, but really there's a mutual benefit when I train, because when I train people, I know what your qualities are. I know how you work. I know that you're going to give the same type of service
Right.
that I will. And so when I get closings, now I've built my network. I had to
Mm-hmm.
create, I don't like listen, I did not set out to be a signing service.
Nope, me neither.
Um,
Never
I'm
will
I'm
be. Never will
boutique.
be. Yeah.
I'm boutique
Yeah.
signing service because if I can't do it, I now have a network of people that I can call on and that I can use. And I've set it up
Smart.
now. I got my own database now set up to where I have my questions and I know what everybody is using. So I've decided to do that.
Yeah.
But where I am gaining, where they're gaining from me, the training and all of this, I'm also having a network of where I can now provide quality service through another notary
Right.
to my network, especially for Ron, because
Yeah.
I'm a Ron notary, but I've not done any Rons and I keep my
Really?
certifications up. It's
We're gonna get
it's
into
just
that.
not my thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in person. I love in person. And so what I do is I hire within my notaries. My fan community, those are the first ones I call when it's time for, when I need to hire out for a job or anything like that. And I send them the work. Why not? If it's
Yeah.
not something I really want to do.
Right. Of course. That's the benefit of being a business owner, by the way,
Yeah.
is you can say no. Well,
Yeah.
as a leader for your network, what qualities do you believe, outside of what we've talked about building networks, are essential for the success of notaries in this current season?
Okay. So one thing as an educator, I know I'm gonna say this first is
Mhm.
be teachable.
Yeah. Oh, girl.
You gotta be, and I know you felt that. You felt it. Just like, listen, I have had
So,
notaries that I have brought on, even they were referrals from other people.
mhm,
Um, but when you let them know there's a certain way that my clients are expecting their documents and expect their kind of service. They have maybe you could say I spoil them, but this is the way that my clients like it. So
right.
when I hire a notary, I'm going to give you that. The same way if someone hires me, I ask my clients often, how do you like your documents? How do you, so I can meet your needs.
Right.
But not
Customer
every
service.
exactly, but not
Yeah.
every notary has gotten that.
No.
And they're like, this is the way I do it, and this is, and all that. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And in my mind is, I'm not
Yeah.
hiring you again,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so being teachable, but I've also had notaries that have made mistakes several times, but their heart is just, they're so teachable. I didn't know that. I've never done that before.
Mhm.
I'm going to change that, or let me make this right. And I will continue to hire them
Right.
because they have a teachable heart and
Yeah.
they're willing to learn something new. And it's not that mindset of I'm, I know it all. And I will
Right.
tell you, most of the people I train are older than me.
Mhm.
They have maybe more
It
experience in
it
other
doesn't
areas.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're right. I think when you're right, I felt it when you said it, because I was like, that should
Teachable.
be step one. I have notaries that call me all the time. I'm brand new. What should I do to get started? And the first thing I tell them is get educated, because I don't care where you got your
Yeah.
commission. It wasn't enough. Get
Oh,
educated
never.
to be a notary, right? That's the first thing I say. But I think the first thing I should say is, can you be teachable? Can you adopt that personality and that mindset so that the education that you need to get is going to stick?
Exactly.
Oh, Janae.
Yeah, you gotta be teachable in this industry and willing, because even if you take and you spend all your money on all these trainings and all of the things,
Mhm.
if you don't have a teachable mindset, people are not going to want to work with you. They're not going to, there's people I will answer. I have students, and I know I still have some boundary issues because I'm a people pleaser, and I just really have a heart to help people because, if I was ever in a bind, I had those people that, would
Mhm.
answer the call for me.
Yep.
So I like to be that for other people. I
Yep.
do have to establish boundaries as I learn, as I'm growing. My mentors get on me about that.
Mhm.
But there are people that I will answer that phone call for
Yep.
10 o'clock at night. What do you need? I got a closing early in the morning. This is what I never seen this document before. What do
Yep.
I do here? And I'm willing to do that because of their heart, right? They
Full
have a
heart and they're
teachable
teachable.
spirit,
Yeah.
and I know that I'm not wasting my breath.
Mhm.
I don't like wasting time or money. And so, and my time is my money. So
Right.
when
But
I'm going
also,
to
you
teach
know,
you for nothing,
they're going to get that value that you're giving them.
yeah.
They're going to get the fullness of that value that you're giving them. Yeah. I,
And that I know that it's going to be worth it.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just giving you all of this and you're not doing anything with it. You're not going to really take it on. And just
Mhm.
why, just why? Why?
It needs
So,
to be, if it needs to be like a requirement to be a human being in the first place is to be a teachable person because
mhm,
yeah, it's
yeah.
amazing.
And I think another thing, especially in this season, is to realistic expectations
Mhm.
of the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
industry. Don't go off of the hype, the commercials of how you can, the six figures, and you can
Tomorrow.
do six
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah.
You can. It's
Yeah.
not that, but when you realize what it takes to get the six
Mhm.
figures, it is totally possible in this industry.
Yes.
But are you willing to know
Make
what
the
it takes to do
sacrifices
that?
to do it. Yeah, because it's a sacrifice of everybody and everything else to make that happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So understanding what can be done, have realistic expectations, and also again, don't compare yourself to someone else's journey. I got in if I would say one of my mistakes is doing that. I got into the hustle mindset, Jen, because it was so busy and the work was
So did I.
there, right?
Mhm.
And it was just like work, 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 work. And then, you realize you have these moments where, like, for me, one of the main moments was when my children, we were on a vacation because, as notaries now, we can take vacations when we
Yep,
want,
whatever we
you
want.
know and we homeschool our children, so we
Right.
vacation off season. And so while everybody else is in school. But we
Yeah.
were on a vacation and I had my laptop and I was working, and my children were like, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, it's time, put that away, put that away." And then the next vacation we had, they said, "You can't bring your laptop this time."
They put their foot down.
They put their foot down. And so that just was a sign to me that, okay, it's enough is enough.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I can go out there and do all the things and have this skill. And you know what? There's always going to be business. I
Yes.
look at people who have been in this industry for many, many years, but the mindset of I got to get it and I got to get it now while the getting is good.
Yeah.
No, people
Yeah.
have been in this industry through ups and downs, many, many years. And
Yeah.
so I realized my children are not going to be this age
Nope.
for very long. So it went back to me prioritizing what are my priorities.
Mhm.
And there's always going to be business.
Yeah.
So I took it off the top priority and put everything back. It's God, my family, and then work.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to when we are talking about this is when you became a notary, when I became a notary, was when I tell you that you go to bed at night and you wake up, and if signing companies or title companies, I went straight with title within 30 days of being commissioned, just like
Yeah,
you did.
nice.
Yeah. If they could email you documents and have it fall on your head while you're sleeping, you would wake up every morning with hundreds of options of where to go the next day. When I tell you that's not a lie, when I tell you it was really how we lived, that we were gone all the time. My son grew a half an inch in that year and I missed it. My
Mm.
kid's short. We're short people. So for him to grow, he's 18 and he's still growing, was a monument. I see this new mark on the wall going, when did that happen? Well, you weren't here. You know,
Mm.
I had the
I
same,
totally relate with that. I
yeah, I had
totally
the
relate.
same thing happen when the season slowed down a little bit and I got a chance to take my breath. And I looked around
Mm.
and my husband and my son were like, "Oh, you're going to be home for dinner?
Mm.
Haven't seen you for a
Wow.
year, but you're going to be home
Wow.
for dinner." it was a real thing that was happening. So really, really, you either were going to be
Yeah.
what you said, the monster that's hustling for the dollars because they're going to be gone tomorrow, or you realize that this industry has existed since the Stone Ages because they've always needed a notary, which means there's going
Absolutely.
to be work.
Yeah.
It's an important note to take here.
Oh yeah. Especially I did not plan to grow this fast. This
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be just a side job
Mm-hmm.
until my husband went back to work. This was just something fun to do on the side to
Right.
fill in our income until, everything got straightened out with the pandemic.
Right.
But it took off so fast and
Mm-hmm.
I just got caught up in it. And then because just my personality, I just started coming out and then people started noticing me. And then all of a sudden now I'm out
Yeah.
here, people are asking me to do things. And
Yeah.
there are times, honestly, Jen, that I'm like, I wish nobody knew me.
Oh, for sure.
I just wish I could just
For
work
sure.
my business.
God.
And,
Yeah.
I've had moments like that, but then I
Anonymity
realized
back.
the
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah.
I realized the blessing in being able to
Mhm.
help other people.
Yeah.
And so,
And
but
you
it
do.
can get a little overwhelming sometimes.
You know something I want to tell you for people that are not part of your Florida network and that might see you on um an NNA summit call or something like that. Your energy for this industry and for the people in this industry could turn anybody into a notary. You're like a genie with like the happiest smile ever. I swear to God, we can march you around the world and just fill the world with notaries because what you put off.
Let's start the tour. Let's do it. Let's
Start
do
the
our
tour.
notary world tour.
Yeah, the notary world too. You have that energy. You get excited and it makes people get excited to be in the business that we're in. So I just want to tell you that
Yeah.
I understand. I'm starting to right this second. Probably starting to get the moments in my business that you got earlier because you started your training earlier, where people are freaking out when they get on a Zoom call with me, or if I answer my phone and they've called me from YouTube or something like that, and it's weird.
It's
And
so weird.
and Bill Soroka said, "Hold on tight, girl, because it's going to get worse." But when I hear you say that, I'm going, no, I already want to take everything back. I did.
Yeah.
Go back to my back to
Let
my.
me go back into my
When
bubble.
I go back, yeah.
Yeah.
When I go
Yeah,
back,
that's kind of how I felt when I I went to conference last year, this in 2023, and
yeah.
an NNA conference, and people would come up to me and they would say, I would introduce myself and they're like, girl, we know you. I'm like,
Yep.
"Wait."
I'm not even
And it
surprised.
happens so often, I still forget like that people
You're out in the
know
world. Yeah.
who I am, and they're telling me things about myself, and I'm thinking like, how do you know this? Oh, you were on this podcast, and I saw you on this, and then
Yeah.
you were here, and you remember you, and I was like, oh, because then I kept telling them they didn't know me. If my husband was, I was like, no, because before this, I always get this. I look like somebody's godmom, cousin, auntie. I have a familiar face that looks
Yeah.
like somebody.
Yeah.
So that's my go-to. I always say that. I was like,
Oh
oh
no,
no, no, no.
no, you don't know me.
I just have a familiar face. They're like, girl, we know you. I'm like,
I love
so
that.
it's still kind of weird. But I really love being able to help and to be a part of people's journey, even if it's just a small part. It's just amazing to me. So I enjoy that.
How does your network of notaries in Florida feel about how other notaries in the country are taking ownership of you? Do they notice that? Do they notice that you're getting attention from across the country?
Oh man, they support me. Like every time if I'm doing something, and I let them know, hey guys, I was like, pray for me. I'm gonna be on this platform. I'm gonna be doing this. And
Yeah.
and they're like, we're there. And I get so encouraged because I see them in the chat. Like if I'm doing a virtual call or something, I'll
Mhm.
see them in the chat. Or if I'm in person and they're there, I just feel the love.
Yeah.
I feel the love, but you know what they know about me is that as I, have a network with different ones,
Mhm.
it now expands their network.
Yeah.
because as I brought many of them onto where they get VIP conversations. So all those people that I've interviewed for the table talks that
Mm-hmm.
I've, networked with, they get the benefit. If
Yeah.
my fan members get a VIP meeting with them, usually after the table talk, where they
Right.
get to ask in a smaller setting personal, their own
Yeah.
questions. So they know as my network expands, what
There's
I
experience.
know, theirs expands. What I
Yep.
learn, they learn. If there's something that I know that they're good at, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me connect you with this person. And I know, so
Yeah.
I don't think they're just there. They're really supportive. I
I love
really
that.
appreciate them.
I love that. How in all of this do you foster a sense of community within your network? I mean, Florida is not a small state, so I imagine you have members from all across it. How do you
Yes.
bring them? Do you bring them together to collaboration and have them work together?
Yes, it is. It can be a challenge. And I do have some things in order to, things that I want to do in the future to do more collaborations. But what I do is I really am hands-on with my community.
Mm-hmm.
My goal was not to have like a huge, huge community. I mean, if it
Right.
goes that way, that's fine. But what I wanted to do was really still be able to be hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the stories of my members. I know, where they are. Um, and so I like to connect them. So I have a notary. When I get a notary that joins from Jacksonville, I was like, hey, we have 2 members in Jacksonville. You guys connect. Hey,
Yeah.
this notary is doing an event, a networking event. Connect with her. Um, Even as somewhere just as simple as one county over is
Yeah.
far here in Florida.
Yeah.
So at Palm Beach County, I have Palm Beach County notaries that actually one of my first notaries that signed up that believed in me is immediately as soon as I launched, she was the first one to sign up. She's amazing. And then so when I get Palm Beach notaries, like when I had one Palm Beach notary that signed up and she was new, and I was like, hey, connect. And they connected and she was able to meet with her in person.
Yeah.
And, they were able to work together. So I love making connections like that. Another thing that we've done is I have a Voxer group for them
Mm-hmm.
called the Fan 411. And
Okay.
so in the Fan 411 is just any information, new stuff that's coming out. I'll post in there. It's like that walkie-talkie system.
Yeah.
But we can post any information that I have or new events that are coming out that I want to give to my community. But it's also there for someone when they have they're at that signing or they have something that they have a quick question,
Yeah.
that they want to get to really, really fast. So they will post it in there. And then if I don't answer, others will answer. And there are times where I hold back because I get
Let's
my
see what they're gonna
notifications and
say.
I'm waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting to see. And they just come in and they give their feedback. And that's what I want to foster. I want that type of community. So they really love the Voxer group because it's like immediate.
Yeah.
um,
I
and
love
so
that.
that's
What a
the Fan
smart
411.
idea. That's a smart way to connect a large area so that everybody can come together. I started a community of my own, but it's literally for 4 counties in the central belly of California, right? We're between San Francisco and LA. And what I did it for very selfish reasons.
You did in person, right?
I wanted community. Yeah, I wanted in
Yeah,
community. I
I
didn't do it for
remember.
training. I did it for community. It's been going for 2.5 years. We have 180
Wow.
members. I'm trying hard to keep the numbers low. Um, we probably have 60 of those 180 that are active.
Okay.
And yeah, we meet up monthly. We have, you know, wine chats. We have breakfast meetups. We have training seminars. I do once a month new notary training on Zoom. I mean, it's evolved, but I started it for community in my
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
And what you're doing with your network by allowing people to connect like that is the same thing, just from the
Hmm.
other side. And I think it's brilliant because I think all notaries need a community of notaries around them, physically around them, not just online. We need to be able to
Right.
touch and talk and, interact with them. I think it's a brilliant way to do that when you already have the people. Just putting them together like that is
Yeah. I
awesome.
want to do more of the in person. Like I said, I'm an in person
Mhm.
type of gal. And so I want to do more of that. Like I said, my members are are vast. So, but when
Mhm,
I go on vacation a lot to Central Florida and
mhm.
Orlando. So when I go to Orlando, a part of my family vacation is I have a day for my notaries meetup. We meet up.
Girl,
So the
that's
notaries
what
come from Tampa, they
yep.
come from Orlando,
Mhm.
Kissimmee, all over, and we meet up together. And that's so much fun just to be able to interact. And you know what? They get to see you as a real person.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and because I'm just myself.
That's how I see Jen Neitzel, who lives in Texas.
Yeah.
She's on vacation. She calls me, she calls Matt, and we hop on the car and drive out there to hang out with her on her family vacation.
Yeah.
You have a
Yeah.
lot of leaders doing kind of the same thing to get connected with their network. So as long as your family doesn't kill you for doing that, it's a great
Yeah.
idea.
They give me one day. They give me
They give
one
you one
day.
day.
They give me one day. Yeah.
I love it.
I
I love
fill
it.
the week with theme parks and activities and they give me
And
one
well,
day where we can
yeah,
go
they're
out.
relaxing. You get to go out and do this. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you brought it up, but you don't like to do Ron. But with the rise of digital notarizations, how do you navigate the integration of e-notarizations and Ron within your network platforms, especially if you're not doing them? How do you educate and help other people get empowered to do them themselves?
So what that was one of my first courses that I have someone else. I brought in another
Mhm.
Florida notary colleague
Mhm.
that and I had her come and we did like a Ron 101 question and answer session and we did like 3 sessions. And it's on the platform now. So anyone who's interested in Ron, they'll have that. And then what I do is I add different ones. So I've had Amy from Cyberize It come on and explain her platform and answer any wrong questions. So there goes the network, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find the professionals in that area.
Yes.
I'm not going to train you on Ron just from what I know. I can tell you what I know, but I want to give you the value. So utilizing my network.
Mhm.
So I have a Ron course on my platform for
Gotcha.
those who are interested for Florida specific. And there
Mhm.
are more courses that I'm adding and collaborating with other notary colleagues to add value.
Right.
I even had one of my own members
Really?
do a session. We did a boot camp. We did an AI boot camp, a marketing
Nice.
AI boot camp for 3 days.
Wow.
Um, and I had her come on and she's really good in that area. So I'm really good at identifying strengths,
Of
you
other
know, and
people.
see
Yeah.
and being able to pour out that into the community that you know you receive from. So and it was wonderful. So I want to do we're going to be doing a lot more of that and more collaborations,
I love
bringing
that.
in all these different areas
I love
as the
that.
market has shifted.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if it's not your strength, then you find whose strength it is. And so there you
My
go.
strength is connecting, so
Yeah, and you do a good job of that.
I can connect the dots.
Well, okay, so just in your opinion, what are the most significant regulatory or legislative changes affecting notaries specifically in your community? And how do you parlay that information to the rest of your network?
So I actually wrote it down recently. I'm going to be though I send like our Voxer group when something changes, I like throw out something, hey guys, be aware of this.
Gotcha.
But I'm actually planning to record. I recorded another video yesterday, but record a video to add to my platform. And we also have monthly fan art. We call it our huddle time.
Mhm.
That's my group coaching. And so during that time, I can add, what's new going on for us here in Florida. One of the new regulations is that our witnesses for any deeds or mortgages, conveyance documents require the witnesses to put their address. Now,
Mm,
Florida is big on fraud, so I guess this is
yeah,
one of those things that they have
right.
put in place for that. So that can impact the signing big time
Mhm.
because if you're, especially with a lot of signing services where they're saying, hey, go find a witness if you're signing at Starbucks, go find a witness. I have had the darndest time sometimes to try to find a witness that's willing to put their name just to say they watched
Mhm.
them sign. Now
Mhm.
you're going to ask for their address. So now you now have to create, okay, now I have to teach, okay, if this is going to be an issue, how do we communicate that with our signing service to them, listen, I know that, I could find a random witness.
Right.
This is how do I communicate that without being obnoxious about,
Right.
no, I can't do that, explaining to them, educating them as well. And then, how do I make sure that I'm, planning ahead? What
Mhm.
systems am I going to have in place? Do I have a network around me of other notaries, a network of people who are willing to be witnesses?
Witnesses,
So
yeah.
setting up your systems for that, to prepare. So as new laws change, and I've made so many friends from my clients in
Hmm.
title, and as attorneys. And
Hmm.
so they come in, they let me know. They let me know what things are happening. And I've even had them come in. I brought in estate attorneys,
That's
one of the
nice.
estate attorneys that I
Engaged.
work with,
Yeah.
and they've been able to do a Q&A with the estate attorney about certain things. So that's that. Again, my network is so important to
Yeah.
bring that value, and keeping my members abreast of what's going on and what's new.
But in that, you're also continuing to bring value to them.
Yeah.
That's really fantastic. Okay. What is we talked about this, your video is coming out in August. So in August, after August, what's coming up for you and your network that you might want to talk about or share with everybody here?
So lots happening before August,
Yeah.
but um, yeah. So in August, I have been asked to be a speaker with the NNA Summit in August. So you can check on the NNA website and sign up for the summit. You can actually sign up for all of them for the year,
Yep.
or sign up individually. Um, for those. I enjoy co-hosting those. I will be co-hosting this next one here in February.
Spring? Yeah.
Um, and working very close. I love working with the NNA.
Yeah.
It's a great group.
It is. I'll put a link to that in the description for the viewers so they can find out where to go to find the summit. So by the way, the
Yes.
online summit, they're all online. It's
Yes, it's
really worth
virtual.
it. It's really, I'm telling people from experience, it's worth it. It's what is it, a 2 hour or less? What is it?
Yeah, well, it's 4 to 7 Eastern,
Right. So a couple
4 to
hours,
7 Eastern time. Yeah.
notary insiders and leaders that just give you amazing content. It's completely worth your time. So if you haven't been to an NNA summit, I highly encourage you to do so. Again, all of that stuff will be in the description down below. Okay.
Yeah, and for my members, I'm constantly adding, I have lots of new courses, new collaborations that are coming within our community, that we're doing. So come
Awesome.
check us out. I have a free resource center if you want to kind of see my style of teaching. Um, so, and I'm eclectic, I guess you can say. I'm one of a kind in the way that I teach. I'm very detailed. I'm
Mhm.
energetic. This same energy I bring to my students in my teaching. If I
Every
get
time.
excited about it,
Yeah.
you'll see it in my teaching.
Yeah. And you guys can find out how to join the Florida Academy of Notaries. I did it good.
Yeah,
Fan.
you get.
In the description down below. So if you guys are interested in that. But the last question I want to ask you, and I'm asking everybody this year, is if you could give one piece of advice, and you have dropped some good pieces of advice today. So I don't know what you have left, but if you could give one piece of advice to notaries today, what do you think that would be?
Hmm. Okay. So I know I tapped on this a little bit earlier, but I want to tap on it again because it's so important. As I do one-on-ones, which is like one of my favorite things to do with new notaries is the one-on-ones because it's personalized. Again, my background is counseling, so I get to put a lot of that in there. It ends up being more of a counseling ministry session a lot of times, more so than
Love
before we
that.
get to the notary stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things I find is where notaries burn out of the industry or they get so discouraged is like I end up talking them off the ledge
Hmm.
because they're looking at others.
Yeah.
Please do not compare your journey to someone else's journey, not mine, not Jen's,
Nope.
not anyone's journey, because no one else is you. You are unique and you have your own unique qualities, your own unique situation, and you're in a different season than they are. I
Yeah.
had to realize not everybody that I'm trying to keep up with, they don't have 3 children that they're homeschooling, or they may not be
Right.
married, and they may not be, caring for a parent. They may not be doing all the things that I'm doing, but then you can get so overwhelmed in trying to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Slow your roll. Okay. Slow your roll. Take a deep breath. Realize, what is my plan? What am I doing? What is it that I want to do? And choose. And I guess this will be the second part of that advice, is to find an area that you love in notary work, you enjoy doing, that fits you
Mm-hmm.
personally, not just because you can make a lot of money with it, but that it fits you and your personality, because that's where you're going to thrive.
Yeah.
And you focus on that area and you do well in that area and then grow onto that.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get distracted by all of the things, all the shiny objects that are in this
Yeah.
industry. I got another one. Can I get another one too? Sorry.
You
It's
just
just,
keep
I'm just
giving
flowing
them.
right now. So the other thing is that I find, and though yes, I'm in the training space
Mhm.
as well. So yeah, I have a membership, right? However, I encourage people. I've had to tell some of my members, if you have to cancel my membership, if that's it, you need to look at your numbers.
Mhm.
Stop spending so much money on the business and not working the business.
That's right.
Before I had business, they want to do all the things. I got to
Yep.
get this, I have a website, I have to do this, and you haven't stamped one thing yet.
Right.
So one of the things that I really encourage people, I mean, your expenses have just racked up, but you have no income.
Right.
Start with what you know. Start
Mhm.
with what you know. Get some signings in. Start with your warm market. That is like my key when
Yeah.
it comes to marketing. And that's how I grew. I
Yeah.
didn't grow on social media. I
Mhm.
started with my warm market. Who do you already know?
Mhm.
And get experience doing that. Get some income coming in from that. And then as you grow, then you now reinvest into your business. Okay, now I'm getting a
Yeah.
lot of signings.
Yep.
Now I can purchase the mobile printer.
Mhm.
Now I can add this. Now I can get my mobile Wi-Fi.
Right.
Now I can, but start doing that instead of just obtaining and collecting certificates.
Mhm.
So many people have collected training
Oh
programs and
my,
certificates
yeah. But this
and
ties back to
they're not
Bill's,
doing the work.
your quote from Bill, nail it and then scale it. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
The same idea. You don't need to
Yeah. So
collect education. You need to move forward and make money. And at some point you'll do this. You don't need to look up questions about this specific thing you're doing. And then you're going, okay, I'm ready to do more. And then you can do more.
yeah,
But not before then.
exactly.
Yes.
But
Gotta
I want to see progress. That's
yes.
me. I'm always talking about, action. What are your action items? I can have an hour session with you and you're like, oh man, I feel so motivated. Listen, I don't want you to feel motivated. I want you to do it. Just
Yeah.
do it. Just listen, show me action. That
Yeah.
makes me happy when I see that you have put into action some things. There's actually students, I have colleagues that I work with, and they're like, so I love calling you because I just start flowing. I call it idea diarrhea because I just can't. Once I get going, I know it's just not the best description. I shouldn't do a website for consulting with that, right? But I literally just start flowing with
Yeah.
ideas. And so I'm so full of ideas that I might not be able to do in the season that I'm in, right? But I love being able to pour those ideas, but I don't like pouring them into people that are not going to do anything with it. I
Right.
have a notary friend that is in Oklahoma, and she's just, we get on a call, I start pouring out stuff. Next thing I know, she's like, I implemented, I did that, I did that. I was like, good, I don't have the time to do it. I'm glad somebody's able to take these ideas and work it
I
and
love it.
implement. So I love that. I love helping. I love coming up with new ideas and things like that, things that I may not be able to do myself.
Right.
But if
Right.
you implement, that just gives me more fire. You're going to get more from me when I see you implementing and you become successful in it. I
Yeah.
love that. I love it. I thrive off of it.
I love that. You're amazing. You really are amazing. And I'm really grateful that you took time to sit down and chat with me and drop all these gold nuggets of information that you've been dropping. I'm literally going to be writing down notes and putting things in frames. Your teachable comment will change my life forever. That you just said it out
Well,
loud. It just got me. Um, I just appreciate you and the value that you bring to your community, but the value you bring to the entire notary community. It's really exciting to watch what you're doing and to see. I love how people react to you. I'm a watcher too, by the way. You know how you like to go and look at how people are, what people are saying. I'm a watcher, and I'll sit
Mhm.
back on a Zoom call. I'll sit back on an event and I'll watch what notaries are saying. I love how people react to you, and I think it's a pretty indicative of the value that you continue to bring to honestly anybody who's willing to learn it. And I think it's fantastic, Janae. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And I tell you, I can't take the credit that whatever I have, I can't do anything without the grace of God. I have to say that because I don't do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it on my own. With all that life throws at us, if I don't have that as my foundation,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. And so I appreciate you, Jennifer. I watch you too. I've been watching you. I got to listen to your podcast and when you were a guest on Bill Soroka's,
Yeah.
and I listened to yours. It was just, I've seen you. You're always adding value. So I appreciate you doing this for
Thank
the
you.
simple fact just to give information out to our notary community. Um, you're in that chat, girl. You're always there every
Mm-hmm.
in all the notary events. Jen is
Yeah.
there giving the gems. She's
Uh-huh.
actually helping notaries. May not even be your event. And you're like, well, I don't have to do that. No, you're just there. You freely give. And that's why I believe you freely receive. That's why your network is so willing when
Mm-hmm.
you call to just say, yeah, whatever you need, what you need, I got you.
I
Because
appreciate
you're
that.
always there so willing to give. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, I hope we talk soon again, and I hope everything goes well with you for the rest of this year, as we are in January. So I know people are seeing this in August, but we got a lot of year before that. So I'm excited about all the things that you're doing, and I look forward to talking to you very soon, Janae.
Yes, same here, Jen.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I loved having that interview with Janae. I loved chit chatting with her. I love the talk we had after the camera stopped rolling. I think she's a remarkable notary and she's a remarkable human being. And I hope you enjoyed getting to know her and her journey and her heart for this industry as much as I did. I think she is going to continue to change the notary industry and she's going to be a fun one to watch. But if her network is something you're interested in, I encourage you to go check her out. She's fantastic. And yeah, I'm so blessed by the people I've had a chance to interview this year. And I hope that you have found those interviews to be as helpful as I have. So until next time, take care of yourselves, guys. Check out the Florida Academy of Notaries, and we'll see you later. Bye.